Hello, everybody. So immediately, right out of the way, I may be looking better than normal. I may be looking worse than normal. Typically, I film these videos on a computer with a little camera at the top, a very nice, expensive camera. I can move it, I can edit it, and while using it, it's very cool. My laptop, which that operates off of, and also the microphone that's normally plugged into it, is getting fixed. You'll notice that if you've been watching the Hydra Studios videos, that should be linked below, or I might not be able to do that from my phone. It should be linked on the channel. That's the D&D game I run. If you've noticed, you can see my camera in that. Little cracks in the plastic case. Sometimes they've been getting slightly bigger over the past couple months. So that's getting fixed. They informed me, the place that's fixing it, that it should be ready by the weekend. So for the fans of Hydra Studios, we should be back to streaming by the end of this weekend. And for you all, I should have it back and we should be back to typical videos. I should be able to read my notes from my actual computer while I'm streaming instead of printing out the script and reading it. But yeah, I think the big thing, the quality actually looks very good. We actually used my phone to stream the first couple of D&D games on Hydra Studios. The audio is what I'm worried about, but I hope it's okay. So, episode 3 of Euphoria season 3 is what we're here to discuss. First, I will go over very quickly the things I felt while watching it, because I had a lot of theories from the last video essay that I just want to say like, oh, this came true, or this didn't come true. Then we'll get into the main theory or video essay, the point of it for this video, which is how Rue and Jules' relationship is paralleled in Tish and Angel's, the characters introduced in season 3. I also have some dogs in the room. You'll be familiar with them if you've watched Hydra Studios. It's Gus and Charlie. Maybe they'll jump on the couch halfway through. Maybe they'll just keep walking around. I apologize if it's too loud. So right off the bat, I was right about Paladin being an animal. So, with the camera, I'm going to be a lot more in your face probably because it's not static and I can move. So I'll try not to disorient y'all. Also, can I just say, incredible. The last video, I think, is almost to 500 views. A couple people commented on it in support. Very nice. Thank you all so much. That is the entire reason this video is getting made. I'd probably go on like a couple week hiatus if that video didn't get the reception it did, and just make another video whenever. But I'm making one like 2 or 3 days later now, even though I physically have to do it in a more annoying way. That's all because of the support I got. So thank you all so much. I have a thumbnail for this video. I edited it on my computer before I gave it in. I hope I'll be able to upload it through my phone. And I hope it doesn't take forever to upload because I'm uploading it through my phone. Those dogs running around. Basically, Paladin being an animal, I theorized, due to the name of the last episode being The Ballad of Paladin, that it would be an animal. I didn't actually mention this in last episode, but the main reason I had this theory was because Paladin was a character in a show, and that was his name, an old western, which gets further referenced in this episode. Paladin was his name in Have Gun Will Travel, and the Ballad of Paladin was actually the theme song. And I was correct. I theorized that it would be a boat or a sports car. It might be like the name, and that'd tie into the money aspect. But no, it was one of Laurie's birds. I don't think that's been established. I don't even know if we've seen the bird yet. Which, if that's the case, kind of lazy writing to not just go back in and put it in there after you decided that it'd be a plot point in the 3rd episode. But maybe it was, and I didn't notice it. At the least, they could have like mentioned it, but I don't know. I was right about Jules being Rue's +1. That was just logical to me. Who invited Rue then? I could see Maddie, because we don't know if Maddie was invited by anybody or if she just showed up. Clearly, Nate's parents didn't invite her. I think Cassie invited her because they're friends again. I would imagine Maddie brought Rue as her +1, and maybe Rue just brought her own +1. Not supposed to do that. Not a normal thing, but it doesn't matter. That's what happened, apparently. Marcia says Maddie is showing a little more than her face when Maddie shows up in that scandalous dress. And then Jules shows up wearing even less. Hilarious moment. I loved it. Very funny. Susie's an awful mother. I love her actress so much, but she's walking Cassie down the aisle instead of Cassie's father. That's a nice detail because we know that Cassie's father leaving her fucked her up and messed Lexi up pretty bad. And she's always been trying to fill that hole in her life. So Susie being the one to walk her down, that's a nice detail. Lori has had a lobotomy this season. I thought this after the first 2 episodes, but episode 3 confirms it. This conniving, menacing, methodical schemer has kind of fallen from grace hard. She only wants Rue back because she misses her, not because Rue knows too much or Rue is easily manipulatable. She's just kind of fallen as an antagonist. She was such a scary force in the second season. Reminds me, I know I mentioned Game of Thrones a lot on the other channel, on my personal channel. But it does remind me of how Littlefinger and Varys, two schemers in Game of Thrones, got worse as the show went on because the people writing them got stupider. So the smart characters got stupider. Lori is still acted well by the actress. I forget her name. And I can Google right now because I would have to get out of here and it look bad. But the character is kind of annoying me with how more seemingly stupid she's gotten. There could be a million reasons why she wants Rue back, and the only one listed currently is she misses her. Not for control over lmao or the debt Rue owes her. She just wants her. She also had several people loyal to her last season that just kind of vanished. I think they mentioned that they got arrested or they fled to another country, but they got rid of all those people and put a racist skinhead family in. That feels like, I don't know, boring racial commentary. It feels like trying to make easy antagonists. You know, the KKK gang, that's a common faction, but it's normally a common faction archetype trope in, like, action movies. Like Reacher or something. Not necessarily in Euphoria. But I don't know. Maddie casually shit-talking BB, even though she took pride in being a good friend in high school, is a nice detail about how she's kind of become a more fake person in Hollywood. Her friendship with Kat literally ended because Maddie hated how fake Kat was. And now she's shit-talking BB, apparently lost her number or blocked it, is making fun of her for not knowing. And she doesn't even know. She just says, I bet she doesn't know who the father is of that baby. When, like, you cheated on Nate in season 1. So, what if you got pregnant? You wouldn't know who the father was. But that's neither here nor there. A big surprise, Aaron, Nate's brother Aaron, kind of shines in this episode. It's probably because Aaron feels like he can fill this role in the wedding party and feels useful, but him helping out Nate during the wedding several times was really heartwarming to see. Just making sure he's okay. Making sure he's safe from Naz, I believe, was a scene, unless I'm misremembering that. He definitely prepared to take the mic from Cal, and he just encouraged Nate to marry Cassie, even though he was having doubts. Aaron was there for his brother this episode, and that was nice to see. A detail I wanted to mention in my last video, but I didn't. I just forgot it. Cal, in season 1 and 2, Cal has a short, neat haircut, and so does Nate. But Aaron had this long, non-conforming, shorter length hair, which is just, that's another easy, obvious trope. The fuck up has the long hair and they like smoke weed and they jerk off while the other son that the dad prefers. Apologies, I'm going to unplug my phone now because my dogs are walking all over and they won't lay down. The kid that the dad actually prefers looks like a perfect reflection of him. That's a common trope. But this season, Nate kind of has a mix in length between Aaron and Cal's hair. Now, it could be symbolic, but it's probably just because that's what Jacob Elordi's hair was during filming, and he didn't want to change it. That looks a lot more like Jacob's hair, but not Nate's hair. But that is a nice detail, that how he's kind of trying to... He's not necessarily feeling like he's forced to be Cal's son anymore. I wondered in my last video if they were just going to have Cal drunk in all of his scenes, so Eric Dane's ALS voice didn't sound irregular, and it seems like that is the case, because Cal has, I think, 3 more scenes this episode, and he's drunk in all of them. So I guess he's just going to be drunk in every scene. He's been drunk every time he's shown up this far, and that's the reason why he sounds like that. They could have mentioned that, like, getting a shotgun to his head might have messed him up, and that's why. Maybe that would have been too rough for the actor. I don't know. That's just a little rough. Jules mocking Cal to his face was an enjoyable experience. That whole scene, Cal explaining how he got arrested, kind of annoyed me. Because it's like, oh, I ended up not being arrested for what happened with Jules. I ended up getting arrested because of something identical that happened, apparently. That just feels like, oh yeah, we had Nate get rid of the tape, but we still wanted Cal to be punished. And explain why he's like this. So. Fez's off-screen call with Rue could be foreshadowing that Rue will end up in prison with him. Which is a big theory I had. Watch last episode for more about that. I'll have to wait for the entire series to drop to give my opinion on if they utilized Fezco to a respectful degree this season after Angus Cloud passed away. I cannot determine that yet. I felt a lot of feelings after they were like, oh yeah, he's in prison, because I just assumed that they would say he killed himself in police custody. Or I would assume they would say, oh, because I believe Fez gets shot at the end of last season. I thought they would say, oh, Fez ended up dying also. No, he's in prison. He's been referenced every episode so far. He keeps getting brought up, and now he was on screen. He had an off-screen phone call with Rue. Which, if you haven't seen the episode, it's not a scene that happens off screen. Rue just has her phone to her head and she's talking. A very sad detail. I forget what I think. I think it's One Love, Love All. I would have to check it. Like I said, I can't do that because I'm using my phone. Whatever the last thing Rue says to Fezco, I don't know if it was the last caption of an Angus Cloud Instagram post. Angus posted a ton of behind the scenes content, and it was always very heartwarming. He clearly loved the Euphoria family. It is a caption of one of Angus' posts, whatever the last thing Rue says. Marcia calling Nate and Cassie the new Mr. and Mrs. Jacobs, now that she and Cal are divorced, it's a great representation of how both Nate and Cassie are trapped in those roles now. Fred's wife is like the biggest snake in the show, and I hate that lady. I saw a X post comparing the acting both of them were doing, how Sydney Sweeney was using her whole face, and how the other actress was supposed to be like really mad, but her forehead wasn't moving at all because of Botox or plastic surgery. I just thought it was funny. Yeah, if you're in a role in a profession where you have to utilize emotion, maybe don't limit your features. And obviously, I don't need to get into that. Obviously, it sucks if people feel pressured to do that. Still shouldn't do it. Still sucks for everything involved. It was just an insane juxtaposition. Because, yeah, Cassie was doing everything. And you cut over and she's literally... I thought it was hilarious. Cassie being terrified of Naz and the debt, but then immediately being even more afraid of downsizing? What is even going on? It almost feels like Cassie's gotten a lobotomy too. I would have to wait till the next episode to see if she changes at all. Because after she complained about Nate while Nate was getting beat, which I'll get to in a second, and she complained about downsizing more than any potential debt with a dangerous person, if she doesn't go through any arc, I'm gonna be so bored of her character. I noticed that some parts of the dance between Nate and Cassie kind of resembled an ice skating performance, at least in my mind, which obviously ties into Cassie's former passion, so that's really cool. Just the way they were moving and the way he kind of held her up, it really looked like an ice skating performance to me. I would love for someone more intelligent and more informed about ice skating to do like a breakdown of that and compare. I love how badass Bishop is. His actor, Daryl Brett Gibson, is so underrated. He's amazing in everything he's in. He was in The Wire, Judas and the Black Messiah, the Fear Street series, Barry, We Own This City, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. He's great in all of those and more. Sometimes you look at an actor and they're like, oh, they might not be the most famous, but they bring their all to every role they play. That is Daryl. Daryl Brett Gibson. Fucking awesome. I love him in everything I'm in. He's in. I think I was right when I said Jules' scenes with Cal and Nate were going to be send-offs to that dynamic, and they wouldn't have any more. They definitely all felt like final scenes between the actors, the ones in this episode. Lexi saying she's a virgin because it's better than getting herpes. What are we doing with this character? What? There were scenes in the trailer of her grinding on somebody. It looks like at the wedding. The normal trailer for season 3. It looks like she's grinding on somebody, and it looks like it's at the wedding. So maybe if we get a Lexi episode, we'll find out she did do that, or maybe that whole plot line was cut, or maybe it was just filmed to... They do that. They'll film... sometimes companies will film random scenes, or directors will film random scenes. I'd be surprised if they cut all of that out, so I'm hoping that if Lexi gets her own intro episode, I talked about this last time, where it looks like episodes are focused on each person. The first ones were Rue, Maddie, and Jules. If we get hers and we found out she actually did do that, it could be symbolic of how she doesn't want to be with anyone because Fezco's in prison. But so far, it seems like she just doesn't care about Fezco anymore. And that is disorientating and gross. We will get to the breakdown in just a minute. It's actually at the bottom of this page, or the theory. Cassie actually trying to help Nate when he starts getting his ass beat was a cool detail. I liked that she wasn't just a pushover. Apparently that was going to be a bigger deal. She was actually going to fight back aggressively, but they cut that because they thought it was comedic how she sat there like crying. I hate that decision. Not a comedic scene. I'll mention this in a second. It really feels like they just want us to point and laugh at those characters, and I'll get into if that's okay or bad or stupid in a second. I just can't believe they got rid of Cassie being useful for the first time this season. And I don't think they do this, but it really feels like they used the fact that Sydney Sweeney is a controversial figure and they're only having bad stuff happen to her. That's why I feel like they would remove the scene, which I'm not a fan of Sydney Sweeney. And the genes have passed. No, hate it. But Cassie, you could have not taken away literally one of her only positive examples of characterization in the first 3 episodes. And I doubt she'll get much more. At first, she didn't do, at least, so I said she did a good job, at least at first, then she didn't do much. I like the detail that the way she tried to help was getting in Nate's face and trying to get him to get up. It shows how confident she is in Nate's powers and abilities to protect her. Literally, that big guy, who I failed to mention this, he's an incredible actor. He's in everything. He's always playing a big, intimidating. I love him. He fucking beat Nate to the ground, and then Cassie got down and was like, Nate, get up! While the guy was standing over both of them. And then, yeah, that was a brutal scene where he palms her face and slams it. I think that was the right amount of brutality to happen to Cassie without it being like, okay, we're perpetuating violence against women. I kind of really hated how docile and afraid Nate was during the fight scene. I understand it may be intentional to show how he feels in control when threatening women or men smaller than him. He fought his dad and he fought Tyler. Both of those guys were much shorter than him. But he didn't even throw a single punch, just begged and pleaded. This is similar to Lexi saying she's going to stay a virgin. It could be because of Fezco, and it could be much more deep. Nate could be terrified of fighting a guy bigger than him, but he's fine hurting men smaller than him and women. They don't put the effort in to make that seem like it's the case on either end of the spectrum. Both of those things could have been interesting. They weren't really. After the DAA arresting Rue, she most definitely is going to be a snitch. I wonder if Bishop is an undercover cop, though. I saw that theory because he was able to avoid the cops. Somehow he didn't get captured, but she did. He's very calm, cool, and collected. And it'd be a fun actor illusion trope. He snitched to the cops in We Own the City. He played a real cop who gave a lot of information when they started cracking down on this. Watch We Own the City with John Bernthal. 4, 5, 6 episodes, an hour long. A story about a real, I don't need to advertise propaganda on this show. Watch anything with Daryl Britt Gibson. Fantastic actor. Or maybe he's just more experienced in evading cops than her. Maybe he was fine with her getting caught because he doesn't like that Alamo is trusting this inexperienced young woman. It sounds like the verse, from what I can tell, it seems like the verse she's listening to is, I think, Exodus. I can't remember the specific panel. When Jacob, I believe, is talking to the burning bush. There's some drug parallels there with like burning bush, but I believe the point of that story is to like, I wish I could Google this, and I only just realized it when like rewatching clips. I'm pretty sure the point of the burning bush story in the Bible, I don't know if I said that, Exodus, the chapter of the Bible, she's in the car listening to the Bible on audio because of Ali. I'm pretty sure the point of that story is, I believe Jacob didn't believe in God or wasn't believing in his power, and then a inanimate object lit a flame to talk to him. You could see that personified in a lot of things. Rue is a very sentimental person, and she places a lot of power on these little items. Her being able to open the piece of candy at the end of season 2, she's very sentimental on everything having to do with Jules. She has a couple items she's carrying around this season, I believe. The point of Exodus 3, I believe it is to show, hey, this power exists and it's real and this is actually happening to you. That audio plays right before the cops actually arrest her and probably immediately flip her. So that could be some foreshadowing. If I look into it more, which I might do a whole video just on that, I'm a big fan of the Bible, its plots. I'm a fan of religion and its concept entirely. The power it holds, the evil it can do. Maybe I could do that as my whole next video. We are 2 paragraphs away from starting the actual point of the video. I apologize. Once I start, I'll look at the time and I'll write it down and I'll post it in the caption. Or like in the comments. I apologize. Nate and Cassie getting beat felt very like mean-spirited, but in a boring way. It was definitely meant to be like a point and laugh at the mean characters getting hurt type of scene, like fan servicey, and it just felt boring in that way. I don't know if Cassie needed to get her face bashed into the floor. It's like teetering on the edge. I don't know if we needed Nate getting his toes cut off. That felt like they were trying to be like, look, we're gory and edgy, but it just felt flat. Now, Cassie getting choked and Nate getting his fingers broken would have been just as effective at conveying what the scene was meant to convey. And I'm no slouch to like gore. I love The Boys, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, horror movies in general. But violent scenes are an effective storytelling tool if utilized well, and I feel like these scenes were not utilized well. And then the last thing, while researching this episode, I found out Cal's sister that we see in season 2 flashbacks is named Cassandra. I think I haven't seen anyone else bring this up, so that's a little fun detail for me. Cassie, then. Cassie Jacobs. Can you believe this, Gus? I don't know what that's meant to be. Those scenes were in season 2, and Cassie starts her relationship with Nate in season 2. So maybe Cal and Cassie were supposed to have a kind of sexual thing going on, and it's like a gross foreshadowing. Nate loves Cassie because she's like a perfect version of Jules. There's no like trans things there. It's like, oh, this is, and that's very clear. I could do a video on that, or you could just Google it and watch a breakdown if you didn't realize that while watching season 2. He likes Cassie because she is a version of Jules that doesn't have any of the baggage. I don't want to say anything bad, but I don't want to also speak crudely. I don't know what the benefit is to. I apologize. You cannot have a squeaky toy for now. Just for now. I don't know. Cal's sister is named Cassie. That's all I can provide you at this point. I don't know what it means. I don't know anything. Okay. At 22:15, I'm going to write that down so I can comment it. I apologize it took this long. I had a lot to think about the Battle of Paladin. I actually have one more thing. I apologize. Have Gun Will Travel is the name of the show that the Ballad of Paladin is the theme song from. The main character is Paladin, a cowboy. That show was known, it was in like the 50s, the 60s, I believe, or the late 60s, early 70s. It was in black and white for a majority of its run. I'm a big Westerns fan, so that's how I know this. That show was known for having like not perfect, happy, good endings. Now, that's normal for a drama TV show now. No one expects Euphoria to have a happy ending. The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, Sopranos, Mad Men, The Pit hasn't ended, but it's sad. Succession, modern TV drama shows don't have perfect endings, but this one was known for having episodes. Have Gun Will Travel was known for having episodes that aren't exactly perfect, happy endings with no issues. Like Pyrrhic Victory kind of endings. So maybe that's intentional commentary on that this episode is going to be like intense, but I do not know. I apologize I had to do. So I hoped I could exit the video while recording and hang up on that phone call. I was told I wouldn't be interrupted, and I was unimportant. I hope I can find a shitty video editor app and combine these 2 videos on my phone, even though it would be very long, and try to upload that, try to export it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Maybe I'll have recorded for, this is over, 40 minutes for nothing. Maybe not. I don't know. We're just going to get into this video. Get into the second half of this video. It actually ended perfectly. Maybe I'll cut it off. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm not mad. Don't know why you thought that. I'm going to get into it. So now we're going to get into the theory, or just the parallels I felt while watching. So the main point of this video, even though it's going to be less now because I rambled, I apologize, is I feel like Tish and Angel's relationship, the 2 strippers from the Silver Slipper, are meant to be an inverse of Rue and Jules' relationship. with Rue and Tish being the parallels, and Jules and Angel being the parallels. Imagine the feeling I got when researching this video and remembering that Jules dressed as an angel for Halloween 2 seasons ago. And the character I'm comparing her to is Angel. So Cassandra Jacobs, Rue dressing like an angel, or Jules dressing like an angel being Angel. 2 just mind blows I had while researching this. Okay, so I kind of wrote up like a kind of professional type thing, but I now realize that the video cut, it's sandwiched in between my ramblings at the end, my ramblings at the start. I'm just going to read for a little bit. In Euphoria, relationships often function as emotional mirrors, reflecting desire, dependence, and fragile boundaries between love and self-destruction. This is obviously seen in 2 main relationships, Rue and Jules, and Nate and Maddie. Though maybe now Nate and Cassie has been more showcased. Tish and Angel, though much less central to the plot of Euphoria than Rue and Jules, offer a compelling parallel to the 2 protagonists. Both pairings illustrate how vulnerability can draw people together while simultaneously creating an imbalance, revealing a pattern of one partner becoming an anchor while the other drifts away or escapes away. It just so happens that Jules' drifting away was intentional, Tish's was not. Based on how close it seems Tish and Angel were, Tish should not have been at that party alone. I don't know if they had a fight. I don't know if, similar to Rue not going with Jules at the end of season 1, one of them wanted to go and the other one didn't. I don't know. Rue and Jules represent one of the show's most prominent emotional dynamics, a bond built on intense connection but strayed by addiction, cheating, and overall trust issues. Rue's dependence on Jules was detrimental to her health. Jules became Rue's reason to stay sober, a symbol of hope for their future and at times an emotional crutch. Meanwhile, Jules grapples with her own sense of self, navigating gender identity, desire, and the pressure of being someone else's lifeline. This imbalance creates a sort of push and pull dynamic, where the love is genuine but unstable under the weight of the expectations each partner has for one another. Tish and Angel echo this structure in some interesting ways. Clearly, Tish is a party girl, heavily imbibing in the drugs at Alamo's party, mirroring Rue's addiction issues in the past. The very substance that she ODs on is fentanyl, Rue's drug of choice and the source of her heaviest addiction issues in previous seasons. You can see her showcase. You can see this season, I think 2, maybe 1. Fez introduces her to fentanyl. Mouse, I think, is the random drug lord that Ashtray fucking stabs. Basically, Rue gets fucked up on fentanyl pretty bad, and she gets a pretty big addiction to it. That's it. Meanwhile, we see lust as Angel's guilty pleasure, just like Jules, both of them seeking a constant source of love in their life, seemingly. Jules definitely. For Angel and Tish, I'm going to be making some pretty big leaps and like putting together the lines. It's not confirmed Angel is a very lustful person and she needs someone in her life. But while she misses Tish, she sleeps with Rue, seemingly to fill the void. So you can definitely see an Angel or a Jules connection there. Both Jules and Angel sought pleasure in each other's bodies, or in other people's bodies when their partners left them. This creates a dynamic where affection exists dependent on the status of the relationship and where their emotional needs are not fully filled at all. Both relationships highlight a central theme in Euphoria, the danger of placing one's sense of self in another person. We also see this with Cassie and Maddie's relationships with Nate. To a degree, Lexi's relationship with Fezco, Fesco's feelings for Lexi being why he probably made the heroic decision at the end of last season. That's a big theme, putting one's sense of importance in another person. For Euphoria, all 3 seasons. Rue's sobriety became tied to Jules, and Angel throws away her safety and stable income because Tish's vanishment wrecks her so badly. Both of them let their lives get destroyed because they had this much affection, and when it went away, they went away. Ultimately, both pairings underscore the complexity of young relationships formed under pressure, whether that pressure comes from addiction, identity, emotional insecurity, or through being trauma bonded through the dangerous place you both work in. If Alamo casually murders a pig in the middle of a club, splattering one of his strippers with blood with no remorse, I wonder what else Alamo has done to scare these young women into line. Though I think the main parallels are Tish to Rue and Jules to Angel, I do think that all four of these characters have some parallels with each other, of just being women in a dangerous line of work. When Rue first meets Tish, she says Tish looks good. In that scene, Tish's hairstyle is extremely similar to the fake hair Jules wears, showing possibly the reason why Rue is attracted to her. They both have that like weird, kind of what I'm doing, but my hair's parted. They have like the weird tiny part like that, and then their hair's longer. It's a fake wig on Jules, maybe showing she's not really about that life. I don't know about that, but the Tish's hairstyle and Jules' fake weave or wig, very similar. I've not seen anybody else point that out either, and maybe I just not that knowledgeable about hair as a dude or as a cis, whatever. Not someone that does wigs. This is the longest my hair's ever been, fraction of their length. Don't know much about it, but to me they look very similar. Also in the scene, Tish mentions she had a recent breast augmentation, and then the newest episode, one of Jules' clients mentioned how hers are natural, which provides a just interesting parallel. On the flip side, Rue is similar to Angel in many ways. This can notably be seen in the scene where they fight and throw shoes at each other. It basically looks like the same person fighting themselves, with how they insult each other and how they fight each other. If these are intentional parallels, then what does it mean? Could the fates of Tish and Angel tell us something about the future fates of Rue and Jules? For us to determine that, we need to go over where Tish and Angel have reached this season. Tish's is easy. Death. Tish was a stripper at the Silver Slipper who died of a fentanyl overdose. I don't think this means Rue will also directly OD from fentanyl, but I do think it could foreshadow a defeat from her character. My lead theory, as you've heard this episode and if you've seen the last one, she'll end up in prison. As for Angel, Jules' trajectory this season is very intriguing, in my opinion, due to its unpredictability. After the end of the Ballad of Paladin, from a narrative standpoint, she could not appear again. I know she probably will from a meta viewpoint because Hunter Schafer is booming as an actress currently, but also Jules is a main character. I'm curious to explore how Angel getting sent to rehab could mirror Jules' arc, however. For one, rehab? Obviously not rehab. I've seen some theories that Rue says they take you bowling because she's used to a higher end because her mother had a decent bit of money. This one clearly would not take anyone bowling. But the primary theory is that it's not rehab at all. The one that Angel gets taken to by Rue. Just a couple reasons are the lack of records and paperwork. The shady looking ambulance right outside the rehab looks fake. Some people say that the grime under the receptionist's desk or receptionist's fingernails looks like blood. It's just clearly a bad place. If not a front, then just a very underfunded rehab. I mean, you can't even have paper and put people's names down. Sketchy, even if it is a rehab. The main theories behind it are that the rehab is a front for organ harvesting or human trafficking. So 3 episodes in, if these characters are meant to parallel Rue and Jules, by the end of episode 2, they're both defeated already. However, there are rumors that Angel will appear in more episodes this season. I don't know if I believe that. The rumors said that 7 more episodes she would appear in. Like her IMDb said 7 more appearances, or 7 episodes total, because she was in 2. She was in 2. Or no, after the first one, it claimed she was in 7. There's 8 episodes total. But then after she wasn't in episode 3, the amount that it said she'd be in, went down 1. So maybe someone's just updating that, thinking she'll appear in all of them. I try not to factor that evidence in, like casting rumors, or this is just good advice, period. IMDb, Wikipedia, fan wikis, anything anyone can edit after they saw an AI leak. You see this a lot in superhero media. Anything anybody, or Google, leading up to any Avengers movie, there'll be people like, look, Google says Spider-Man is casted Tom Holland is casted as Iron Man. What does that mean? You can put him in there and you can write that down. IMDb, you can go in there and update the amount of episodes. Fan wikis, Wikipedia. Now, Wikipedia is more guarded than most. I'm not like a don't use Wikipedia person. But a lot of the times people say a rumor or they see something recent years AI and they just add that info so they can feel like they're getting ahead of the curve. And they can feel like, I'm the first person to add this info. Not really evidence. I wouldn't be surprised if Angel doesn't appear again. But I do think she will, just because the actress is doing a phenomenal job and it feels like that arc isn't ended yet. If these aren't meant to be parallels, I think Angel would just show up, cuss Rue out, maybe snitch on her, maybe I mentioned last episode that I would love if Rue did a redux of her "How long have you been fucking Nate Jacobs?" If at the wedding she said, "How long have you been fucking Min?" That didn't end up happening at all. But maybe Angel in the middle of a big meeting will go, "How long have you been working for the police?" to Rue. That'd be crazy. As for how I think that Angel's ending parallels Jules' story, it's possible that whether it be by Nate, Naz, Alamo, or Jules, I did not mean to write Jules' name, Lori, someone with power could kidnap Jules and ransom her to any one of her rich clients to get money, paralleling how Angel has been taking somewhere out of her own will. I do think if these parallels are purposeful, they're only meant to be thematic and not like narrative. I don't think someone's ending is going to be the same. I think it's just, if it's intentional, what if Jules, in any one of the dangerous situations she puts herself in, ended up not coming back? What if Rue OD'd the first time? Or she has OD'd. What if Rue died when she OD'd? Just a dark reflection to be like, what if these characters' endings happened earlier and they were sadder? Yeah. That one, I didn't have a lot of concrete evidence, but like I said, it's not like a giant theory. I just think that whether it be intentional or not, you can find a lot of interesting connections in them. I might not upload all this because I'm really upset it got cut in the half. Not the half. I did not talk for as long as I had. This is like a last third. If I'm able to find a shitty phone editor on my Samsung that doesn't ask for $1 billion just to put 2 videos together, I might be able to put it together and upload it. I don't know if I'll even be able to use the thumbnail I made. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm sorry how impromptu this all was. Like I said, by the end of this week, I should have my computer back. So that means being able to Google things immediately, like the Exodus thing. I could have figured that out perfectly. I actually have an editor on my computer where what just happened wouldn't have been an issue at all. I'm sorry how impromptu this is. I promise you higher quality content in the future. There are channels linked on I have a link tree in my description. Maybe not the description of this video if I can't put it there because I'm on my phone, but in the description of the channel. You can find my Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. TikTok. I also have 2 channels listed on the channel if you just scroll down on my channel. Ultra Big Fella, my personal gaming channel. I post clips, usually 30 seconds, a couple minutes long. Hydra Studios is the main thing I want to advertise. That's the D&D channel I have. Currently running a normal D&D game, a superhero game, and a Game of Thrones game. Or playing D&D in those worlds. It's very cool. I would love for you to check it out, but obviously you don't have to. Thank you so much for watching another Euphoria video. I hope this one does just as good as last time. I'm sorry for the worse quality. It will be better in the future. If you have any ideas, let me know. If you're like, do some theories on Fezco, how he'll end up. I'd love to. The main thing I'm focused on for this channel is breaking down things and theorizing. And I find a lot of fun stuff when I'm doing this. Like I said, Jules and Tish have a very similar hairstyle. Jules dressed up as an angel, and now there's a character naming Angel who I think parallels her. And I found out Cal's sister is named Cassandra. Cassie Jacobs. Those are 3 giant things that blew my mind that I found just by researching this video for like this little video. I wrote this script in like 2 days, and like half of it's rambling. I have notes on it. I just wrote down in pen. So I love doing this. Thank you all so much for the support. Euphoria is very fun. I might do a The Boys video. I'm having a lot of fun watching that. Invincible just ended. Maybe I'll do an Invincible video. A lot of superhero media is out right now. I'm enjoying Daredevil season 2. It's just not doing a lot of like big swings, so I don't feel the need to theorize because I don't think anything insane is going to happen. I think maybe Spider-Man might show up, and then after the Punisher one shot and Spider-Man, then something crazy might happen in season 3 of Daredevil. No one clicked on this video to hear about that though. I am very excited for Euphoria. I'll be watching right alongside all of you Sunday night, and maybe that took up a big chunk of this video, so maybe next breakdown I make, I won't do start of the video as my thoughts on episode 4, and then the last half is the theory. Maybe I don't have a theory. I talked for more about the breakdown of episode 3 than my theory, so maybe I'll just do breakdowns of the episode, and I'll also go over every single thing that happens, like a plot synopsis. I don't know. I mentioned how this wasn't as big of a half of a video, and now it is getting bigger. This is going to be definitely longer than my first video. I apologize. Or maybe not if you guys like that. I don't know. I'm getting a hang of it. Any feedback, rude and constructive, actually nice, doesn't matter. Thank you to anybody who takes the time out of their day to watch this, support it, like it. Thank you so much. It genuinely brings me a lot of joy. I was overjoyed to see how much support the first video got. Outside of that, I don't think I have anything else for you. I'm Zachary Baker. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys with whatever next video I make. Have a good day.